All right, back with you right here, live on SportsGrid, as we are getting set for Week 17's Sunday slate of NFL action on SportsGrid. We bring in NFL insider Adam Kaplan. Cap, we appreciate you making some time here as we get close to the home stretch.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Yeah, the three of us, or the four of us, really, we're talking about, off the air, what's kind of ahead of us. There's no question about it. Some fascinating games, some matchups that could actually decide whether teams go forward in the playoffs. And, of course, on Black Monday in a couple weeks, which coaches will not be coming back.
Yeah, I want to start, Cap. You sent us along a list of potential candidates, and you included one name from the college game, which is fascinating. And last night, a tough loss for the Colorado Buffaloes. But if anything, maybe it could add to the chatter. Who knows? Maybe Deion's done the best he could. And we know there's the ties to his son, Shedeur Sanders, who could be a top 5 pick when we're breaking it down come April. Do you think it is possible that Deion coaches in the NFL next season?
Well, Kevin, I'll take it one step further. Is it possible he becomes an NFL head coach someday? The answer is absolutely yes. If you look at my list, right, there are a lot of defensive guys on this list because there's just not enough offensive. And Deion has done a phenomenal job at Colorado. I mean, you can't do a better job. It's just been remarkable, the job that he's done in turning that program around. And he's very well liked by NFL executives. It's not a question. It's just a question of when is he going to be an NFL head coach, or when will someone put an offer out there that he can't refuse. You're talking about a guy's magnetic, that is a franchise turnaround specialist. And then the other thing is his energy and passion he brings to the game. Fans, you saw last year, even when they had their losing streak, so much on Colorado in that program, and he's just done a remarkable job.
So let me just stick with this, Cat, because my wonder around Deion is how much would he be drawn to coaching his son, and how much would an organization be drawn to the idea of pairing two? I could be off base. I feel as if there's constant chatter around Vegas, but do you think for any organization there is an idea of pairing Deion and Shedeur this offseason?
I mean, here's the way I look at this one, Kevin. I don't rule anything out when it comes to head coaches. If you're trying to turn around your franchise, and you've got Shedeur Sanders, who, by the way, as we've talked about it for the last 3 weeks, he's the number 2 quarterback. It's just that now the final draft order isn't done yet. We still have to go through this week and next week. But we're all expecting the Giants to have the first pick overall. That when I do my first mock for ProFootballNetwork.com, I'm almost certain to have Cam Ward there. But after that, it's just a matter of who's the next that needs a quarterback. The Jaguars don't. They're locked into Lawrence long term. But the Raiders is obviously, they don't know who their quarterback is next season or beyond. There could be a head coaching change in a week and a half or two. There's no question that's something I know the Raiders felt they'd be better this season, despite all the injuries. It's not Antonio Pierce's fault with all the injuries, but they need to turn that franchise around, and you need a quarterback. And they haven't had that franchise quarterback in a long, long time.
We're going to have some coaching opportunities, no doubt about it, once the season opens. Maybe some teams that we didn't think would be moving on from the coaches moving on. But, Cap, better than you to know this process inside and out. Sometimes we take a look at the best position available to be a head coach would be a guy with his X and O's. But we know in this day and age, social media, you got to have the X's and O's, but also be the face of the franchise. Does that hold any of these guys back, or does that catapult some of these guys to the top of the list?
Donnie, actually, the latter is the point. This is a really good, astute point that you made. The term is command, okay? You got to stand in front of your players to get them to buy in. Tom Coughlin was not an offensive coach or defensive coach, although he coached receivers early in his career. Yes, they wanted to run the football, but he was all about command and getting respect and how he held the room up. Just because you're a great play caller does not mean you're a great head coach. By the way, Sean McVay, great play caller, one of the top 3 in the National Football League. Incredible, Donnie, incredible command. Guys buy in. He's not the biggest guy in the world. You don't have to be. You don't have to be Mike Vrabel, who's 6'4". You've got to be able to command the room. And when you interview, by the way, talking to people who've been involved in the interview process over the years, you got to feel when you're interviewing this candidate, wow, we can't let this guy get out of our room. I talked to Joe Banner, the former Eagles president. I remember Joe telling me when Andy Reid presented to them, he was so dynamic, and it was so obvious when he had his binder of the things that he was going to do to turn around the Eagles that they absolutely had to hire this guy. You want to feel that, Donnie, when you're done the interview process. That's the guy that we want. This guy commands the room. Yes, he's got a plan, but he's as you said, he's got to be the leader of our franchise where there's absolutely no doubt.
Cap, and that's where I want to go because two organizations, the Saints and Bears, right? I've heard the Saints mention Aaron Glenn. I mean, Detroit's defense is good. It's not elite. And could they afford to go back to a defensive coach knowing that Dennis Allen couldn't get him over the hump? And then for Chicago, I've actually heard that, Pete Carroll wants that job. So if Bill Belichick couldn't get a job in the NFL, would they even go that route with an aging head coach in his 70s?
Yeah, Joe, let me address the Pete Carroll situation. I'm told with Pete Carroll, yes, he's interested in the Bears job, but he's interested in teams that are interested in him. So I expect him to talk to other teams. And by the way, if you're out of coaching, if you're not currently working for an NFL team, you can interview with clubs right now. You could talk to these guys. So the bottom line is with Pete Carroll, he wants to be a head coach when he was pushed out with Seattle. And as one league source said to me last night with Pete Carroll, why wouldn't you want to talk to him? Talk about the turnaround job they did in 2010 after Mike Holmgren was long gone and that regime was gone. And they brought in John Schneider. Paul Allen did. John Schneider as a general manager and Pete Carroll as the head coach. And the two, by the way, I'm told didn't know each other, but they got to know each other and they turned things around and they won a Super Bowl together. So, of course, you're going to want to talk to him. You know, he was a great college head coach. But there are some other great candidates, Joe. Now, as far as the Saints, I don't think defense or offense is going to be a big deal for them. It's just getting the right guy. It didn't work for Dennis Allen. He was going to be fired at the end of the season anyway, had it not been in season. And remember, they got to figure out who their quarterback's going to be, whether it's Derek Carr or somebody else.
Cap, you mentioned the Saints there. There seems to be a lot of chatter around the defensive coordinator for Detroit and Aaron Glenn getting that job. I got to say, I don't really get it. Again, hiring defensive guys in 2024, 2025 is already risky enough.
Yep.
The Detroit defenses have not been all that great under Aaron Glenn. I know they've been injured throughout a lot of this season. This is one I really cannot figure out why it's, again, is seemingly something now many are starting to expect.
Kevin, here's a couple things with Aaron Glenn. Here's why he's a favorable candidate. Most people don't know this. He actually got his start in the NFL with personnel, with the Jets. He actually worked in the personnel department. He also worked in a minor league as a general manager. So you like that he's got that background. Now, yes, he got off to a slow start with the Lions, but it's particularly due to the issues in the secondary. And the Lions addressed their secondary issues, and their defense has taken a big jump. Now, yes, Aiden Hutchinson's out. They've had a lot of injuries, but I would say with Aaron Glenn, he's actually turned their defense around. It took him a while to get it. Really a smart guy, was a terrific football player as a defensive back for the Jets mostly. He's a guy that, because remember, he has association with the Saints. The Jets are another team to take a look at when it comes to Aaron Glenn, for obvious reasons, the Saints as well. But if you look at my list, guys, it's mostly defensive guys. There are not a lot of great offensive candidates, unfortunately, though the next time we talk next weekend, next Sunday, I'll have some positional coaches to keep an eye on.
Okay, let me get you this information out. The information, I should say, out to the people. The Philadelphia Eagles play today at home. If they win, they'll be the number 2 overall seed. But my question to you is, Saquon Barkley is 268 yards away from the all-time single-season rushing record. If, let's just say, he gets a $168 today, which leaves him 100 short, does he play next week in a meaningless football game for the team?
Donnie, being an Eagles fan, that Barkley's made it pretty clear the record is secondary. It's all about trying to win a Super Bowl. And he's made that pretty clear to people publicly and privately. So I'd be surprised if he played. Now, here's another thing, though. What if he goes off today and they're only 20 yards away? That's another discussion. That's not something that they're talking about now, but they're going to have to if it's really close next week.
It'll be fun to watch it play out, certainly. Cap, we appreciate it. As always, we'll be joined by the Pro Football Doc, Dr. Dave.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, live to you right here. We are on SportsGrid, getting set for this Sunday slate. We are joined by the pro football doc, Dr. David Chow. Of course, SixScore.com's helped us out all season long. Help us make these wagers with the injury analysis. Make sure you go over to SixScore.com/picks. Promo code SportsGrid will get you in the mix. Doc, I know it's been a great season for you guys over there.
Yeah, it's been great. And today I'm from the satellite war room. The other guys are still in the regular war room. Little vacation with the family.
Now, let's, I hope it's a nice vacation. Let me just say that. I see you got snow behind you. So I'm guessing we're not vacationing within California. But if we get to today's games, Doc, there is nothing bigger than the one between Minnesota and Green Bay. And I've noticed on the website, and you guys have done an awesome job continuing to build, and shape that a little bit there. The sick edge has become a big part of it. What are you seeing between Minnesota and Green Bay today?
Well, Minnesota is slightly the healthier side, and the big injury at Green Bay is still not only Jair Alexander but Quay Walker, right? In terms of stopping the run game there. So it should be an exciting game, but that's the main injury stuff right there.
And just quickly, Doc, Jair Alexander, this has been an odd one for certainly someone like myself. I don't know if you guys have all the information because we had a scenario, I believe it was a week or two ago, where he'd practiced all week, and then they were like, just doesn't feel himself. He's not going to go today. Any insight on Jair Alexander?
Well, he has a PCL sprain, posterior cruciate ligament. This is what Puka Nacua had at the start of the season and missed a bunch of games. This is what Ezekiel Elliott had a few years ago with Dallas and struggled the second half of the season. So especially for a cornerback, shutdown corner, it's a difficult injury if your knee shifts even the slightest little bit to be able to react and cover. So it's not a surprise that it's been lingering. It's one that should not need surgery, but obviously it's been hard to play through. But they're leaving hope alive for the playoffs.
Doc, let's go over to South Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Say we want to start at the quarterback position. Number one, Jalen Hurts going to miss this game with a concussion, and secondarily, Kenny Pickett's in there, who got damaged a little bit last week, abdomen / chest type injury. Talk to us about Kenny Pickett and how efficient he can be today based on the injuries that you possibly saw last week.
Kenny Pickett should be okay today. He did get in some practice, and with ribs, you can do a rib block to numb it and to prevent pain, as well as the flak jacket. The Jalen Hurts thing is just really not a surprise for us. All week long, we've been saying Jalen Hurts will not play this week, even if he gets cleared. And the reason why is this. Even if he got cleared and was able to play, if he got a second impact syndrome or a second concussion, he would be out for at least a month. See Chris Olave, even Tua, etc. The Eagles can't risk that. They've got only a very tiny chance for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It's not worth risking Jalen Hurts. Howie Roseman and the Eagles know that. So even if cleared, he would not have played this week. They're saving him for the playoffs.
Doc, following up with the Dallas Cowboys on their side, they shut down their superstar wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Was that something that if they were still playing for something like making the playoffs, he could have fought through? Or is that something that was going to be no better off for in the offseason, get healed up and be fine for next year?
Well, he's been fighting through. So this term shutdown is not CeeDee Lamb saying, I don't want to play. He's been playing with the same right AC joint sprain for over a month now and playing very, very well. Now that the Cowboys are out of it, he doesn't need surgery. I think this is Jerry Jones and company's way of patting CeeDee Lamb on the back and said, thank you for your service. You've really played through the last month plus with this injury. There's no reason to torture you now when we're out of it. It's a polite way of saying we're okay with a little bit of a tank anyways. We've done what we can here. So it's not CeeDee Lamb pulling the ripcord and shutting down. It's really the team telling him, thank you for your service. Take your time and get healthy.
Doc, big ball game in Buffalo. We got the Bills 7-0 at home taking on the Jets. 6 score. Buffalo 91.5. The Jets 80.2. What are you seeing? Jets banged up on both sides of the football. How will that affect their play today?
Jets have been banged up on both sides of the football. We think Devontae Adams is going to play because he wants to catch that 500 touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers. But the big thing is the Bills' defense got healthier. Rasul Douglas, top corner, and Matt Milano, who had, struggled and just come back from early season injury or last season's injury, and he's back. So those are 2 key pieces, even though they may be short on the safeties for the Bills. 2 key defenders back for Buffalo this week.
Now, I see Josh Allen did participate this week, but he's got some shoulder and elbow injuries. Just minor, anything that should affect the performance against the Jets defense?
Minor. The elbow was a funny bone injury, transient ulnar nerve numbness when you got hit with a helmet. Not so funny when your hand tingles temporarily. But it's Josh Allen. We all know now he played through, quote, a fractured hand since week 1. That's long healed. Not expecting any issue here. And Buffalo still has something to play for here. If they lock up the win today, look, they're not going to get the number 1 seed, but they would lock up the number 2 seed if they win today. And if that happens, they'll get their bye week. It won't be the first round of the playoffs, but it'll be week 18 of the season will be their, quote, bye week.
Hey, Doc, quickly, 2 teams that are still alive for a wild card spot won't be without their starting quarterback, the Colts and Anthony Richardson, Miami and Tua. Could you see those 2 quarterbacks back next week?
Not really. Well, I guess if there's something to play for, if they win and, there's something to play for there. Tua's a little bit of a surprise. Everyone knows he's not been a cold weather quarterback. So we'll see what Tyler Huntley can do. Anthony Richardson back soreness, but you can argue Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson, at least in short spells, Joe Flacco can get it done. So we'll see what happens.
And then just lastly, Doc, before we let you get out of here, Chase Brown last night, slides, injured in the process. Any early indicators for you guys?
Even though it does appear to be a high ankle, it's very, very mild. This is one where it wasn't fallen on. It was just rolled outwards. So fingers crossed he has a chance, unlike typical high ankle sprains for running backs, but we'll have to see what happens.
Got it. All right, awesome, Doc. We appreciate it. That is the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow. Make sure you head over to sixscore.com/picks, promo code SportsGrid, and get everything that you need. Doc, enjoy the snow, all right?
Sounds good. I'll be watching from the war room as the kids go snowboarding and skiing today.
All right, awesome. Again, as always, make sure you head over to sixscore.com. We've got Sell Me Something next.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Sell me something time. It's always the best time, isn't it? I got to tell you, I was doing some advanced scouting on the Sell Me Something.
Yeah.
This guy, Donnie's nuts.
Yeah, come on.
This guy's crazy.
Come on.
But as always, we start with Lisi's favorite segment where he respectfully has no idea what's going on.
Correct.
No, because originally Sell Me Something was supposed to be a bet that we really didn't like, but you could see potentially.
Was it though? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, because when I started using like Jordan Love and players, and you're like, well, you could see that happening.
Yeah.
So then it wasn't really Sell Me Something. But then you do the same thing because players that you like, and it's acceptable. So
Wow,
I
all
don't
right,
know.
all right.
So anyway, I was going to use Jordan Love in originally the Sell Me Something. But because I like Jordan Love so much, I took him out and I put a player that I put in to Sell Me Something multiple times that never hits Bryce Young. Not 300, 3.25 today in the slop against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
If Cooper Rush could potentially throw for 300, why can't Bryce Young in one of his last games in the Carolina uniform?
Wow.
You're not getting 3-1. You're not getting 4-1.
Breaking news.
No touchdowns. Plus 750 to light up the Bucs defense tonight.
I like it. How you put the pressure on Bryce Young, saying it's probably the last game he's going to play in uniform
for the year.
Carolina.
I mean
like
for this
that.
year.
Breaking news.
This year. He's got 2 games left.
Put up a shut-up time.
Okay.
Like we're winding down the season.
One of the last times you're going to see him in a
here we go.
Panthers
Hanging
uniform.
on
That was
every
played out
word.
right there.
Hanging on every word.
Man.
Here he is. Pivotable. Pivotable. All right?
You got to pivot away.
All right. Pivot.
So you got Bryce Young, 3.25, not just 300. Some alts maybe then 600 plus combined. Some of that could catch your interest.
I need to see the track. Donnie's got me
Thiel's
concerned.
got a
I
big
look
day then.
34% chance of rain at kickoff.
Yeah.
It's going to stay in the area of 35 to 40 right
It's
around
light.
second half. It might up to 60. What does that mean in terms of the track? I need to see it. We got a live look. It looked like it was sunny and no clouds, but that could change in a moment in terms of Tampa.
Yeah, give me Thielen for 100 yards in on that too. Somebody's got to be eating out there, Joe.
I mean,
who else? Tommy Tremble? Who else eats out?
His number was 18.5.
Oh wow,
I was going to jump on Tremble.
One.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. I saw Tommy Tremble. I thought of you. I said 18.5 is light.
All right, so DRS,
Do you like it?
I don't love it,
but you don't.
I don't hate it.
So I sold.
I was interested in his yards heading into today. I would
wasn't
say
that the
that.
point.
70.
You didn't love it. You didn't hate it,
Yeah.
but I sold it to you.
A little bit.
I'll give you a cookie.
Donnie's going with an NFC. They're a week old. I don't want them. Donnie's going to an NFC South quarterback as well. Very similar approach.
But by the way, this was named here that they didn't put up on the screen. It was the Shake, Rattler, and Roll.
Very
now,
close.
hey, look at this.
I like that.
In the dome, should be able to put up a lot of yards. You know how many yards he's putting up, Joe? $175. Like, ooh,
No,
that doesn't
that's not
sound like a
enough,
lot.
Donnie.
How about a one touchdown pass on top of that, Joe? Plus 120 price. Serviceable and fashionable at the same time.
I need him
you get
to
them
be.
both.
I need him
you
to
get
be.
them both.
I need him to be
You get 'em
elite.
both. It's
South
like
Carolina.
You can
elite.
wear the sport coat to work. You can also wear it out to the lounge later at night. Sensible,
275
smart,
and 3.
all over the place.
I mean, I like it.
275?
If he gets 275, he's got to get 175.
I'm talking
so that's the way
plus
you look
money, Joe, in a place where New Orleans would love to see the streets down there, and this could pave it with gold right there. How about that?
Pave it with gold. Storytelling.
Man, you think we'll see him out there, or now?
We
now
saw
that
him
he's
last
already,
year. Like, by the way, can you text him? Are you textable with him?
Textable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not answering these questions.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
Show us the phone. Show us the phone.
I asked him, why do you think Lincoln Riley left?
Did
what
you
did he
ask
tell
him
you?
that?
I did, yeah. I wanted to
say?
give it. He was like dumbfounded. He had no idea.
Yeah.
The cash.
That's how most people are when you start talking to them. For me, I ended up coming in with top odds. Yet
Beautiful.
I'm pretty sure. Again, I also don't know how this works. I think my player is way too talented for sell me something.
Let me take the best back in the league.
I took Saquon Barkley at 14-1 for 200 plus rushing yards. He's done it. He's done it this season. You're expecting him to get 30 carries.
Yes.
And
yes.
Listen, does Saquon? If you said, "Hey, Saquon, record or Super Bowl?" I think he would pick Super Bowl.
He would.
But everybody wants both. And if he runs for 200 plus today, he is going to break the record. I know you don't want him to. I understand that. If he finishes this game with 205, he will break the single season rushing record next week against the Giants. 14-1.
What's the 2,000? What's the number today?
168.
168. So what would you bet? 175 plus?
Yeah, if you have the chance to press that needle today to get him as close as you possibly can, where he has to go out there with like 15 or 20 yards, he's going to have a big day. And if not, he's going to die trying. 28 carries for 88 yards. They're going to give him the football today.
One of the few teams that bottled him up was Dallas. I'm sure that resonates a little bit as well. It's whip around time. Where is the time?
Let's eat.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today. They cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here. We are live on SportsGrid, and we are set to rock. So let's get a whip around, and we can take our time because there's not too much happening. And we get to break down Eagles-Cowboys. Not mentioned yet is probably the most important part of this game. Is the best player in football will be on the field, and that's Kelly Green, Saquon Barkley. Saw it with my own eyes against Jacksonville. He is an absolute monster with records and playoff spots all on the mind. I do think you see Saquon excel today here. Crazy enough, I lean birds on the 7.5, 7. I do lean under, though, as well. I feel as if, Lisi, the way you've described this game, I feel similarly. I think this Eagles defense is going to be playing with their hair on fire after last
Yeah, that's the way I see it as well. I don't think they allow Kenny Pickett to light it up unless they have a lead. I think they rely on the offensive line, look to run the football. Again, I think their defense steps up. They forced 5 turnovers in the loss last week. I think they could at least get 2 or 3 today, especially without CeeDee Lamb in the lineup for Dallas. Dallas might have a problem running the football. Rico Dowdle last week, only 23 yards on the ground. Cooper Rush lit up the Tampa Bay secondary for, 295, 300? I don't think he does that today. They're going to need the rushing attack to stay in manageable third downs. I don't think they can do it. Again, this is a tough ask from Dallas going on the road. Even though they picked up the win last week, I think Philly's motivated. Again, I see this game 20-6. You might get Saquon 2-15. I hope he gets it, but it's all Philly and the under for me.
Yeah, I would be surprised if the Eagles didn't win this game by double digits. Earlier in the week, this was a 9.5-point number, and that's also now factored in where CeeDee Lamb is not going to play in this game, which is huge. Who do they go to? The Eagles have one of the best, if not the best, secondary in football, and that pass rush should be able to get home against a statue at quarterback. All you need from the Philadelphia Eagles, as we stated before, Kenny Pickett, just to be serviceable in the pocket, no turnovers through interception here, hand the football off, play good defense, come away with the victory. The number 2 seed is yours all the way through. Perfect teaser game. If you're a teaser player, take the Philadelphia Eagles. They'll handle their business today.
Yeah, I think the Eagles do get the job done here. I don't think Dallas is – look, the guys that are out there will play, but, man, this team is not near a full deck. Like, if you want to just put this into perspective, right, because it's like Dak's not out there, right? Like, we lose focus to that, but no Dak Prescott, no Trevon Diggs, no Overshown, no CeeDee Lamb.
Offensive line beat up.
This is a football team that isn't even remotely near the Dallas Cowboys that'll be out there week 1 next year, right?
Yep.
It's but those injuries become, we understand that because it's been going on for a long time. Another 7.5-point spread. It's the Giants and the Indianapolis Colts, and it's Joe Flacco going here for the New York Giants. Oh, by the way, Kenny Pickett over 3.5 rush attempts in that last game. Giants-Colts here is one of these games where I lean G-Men because for the most part, that's how I felt whenever it's not been Daniel Jones. However, as somebody who thinks Brian Dable is still a good coach, I actually think he will be fired, and I think a team should give him a call because, as we talked to Kat, there's not a ton of great offensive minds out there. But, man, Brian Dable has done everything he could possible to ensure, I feel, Donnie, they won't be bringing him back next year.
Yeah, and I think either one of them would be lucky to come back to general manager and coach. And we keep on getting these smoke signals like, they're not tied at the hip, which means if one gets fired, they both have to, which I tend to lead towards Dable staying and Schoen going at this point. For the game itself, 40.5 points, I think it goes over the total. Because I do think Drew Lock's going to throw it all over the place. I think Flacco's going to have success. I believe both of the running games should be able to get cranked up. And for the Northeast, in close to January, where we're worried about so many issues with weather, high 50s, 2-mile-an-hour wind, and rain, not in the forecast. I think we get points today, Joe.
See, I would lean to the Giants, Kev, but again, it's reluctant. I was on the Giants against Michael Penix last week, and that offense couldn't, score and go toe-to-toe. They actually gave Atlanta 14 points. I reluctantly take New York. They're 0-8 at home, have been blown out by better teams. And again, it's all Jonathan Taylor. You ride the hot hand, right? He's got a 90.5 rushing total today. Again, Joe Flacco might make some plays in terms of the passing attack, but again, it's predicated on the rushing attack. That offensive line, I think the Giant defense has been checked out, especially after the loss last week against Atlanta. On the road, I think, run the football. I do lean to the under, though, because I do not believe Drew Lock and that offense are going to light it up. I did take Neighbors 40, 50 yards because he needs 31 to get to 1,000. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, I do lean to Mike Pittman over Josh Downs for the passing attack, 48.5.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky.
It's an ugly game.
I think it's one of those instances where I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are leading in the second half of this game. I wouldn't be surprised. Similarly, though, if the Giants are getting their heads caved in again, I can't sit here and say, like, the Giants aren't one of my favorite sides. I'm not running to the window on the Giants. I do think they are live in this game.
The numbers suggest it.
And also, there is probably something to wanting to win in front of your home crowd if you could, right? Like, maybe they don't care,
Let me tell you
Donnie,
something.
but
That home crowd will be standing, cheering ovations when they're getting buried 21-3 and cheering every punt, every turnover that they have. Because you want to ruin their Christmas and their New Year, win this football game and don't get the number one pick.
I feel as if you probably have more experience being in the crowd for something like that than I do. Maybe not. I feel as if, Donnie, fans only realize to cheer if it's a really close game and at the end they lose it. But, like, if they come out hot to start, the fans will be super into it. Like, it won't hit them until the middle of the third quarter. Like, whoa, what would you?
Yeah,
we're picking ninth?
And most people aren't. The hardcore fans probably aren't even in the stadium today. They gave those tickets away weeks ago. I'm not going there. Maybe it's cold. It's a meaningless game. Hand it off to the grandkids. Hand it off to the cousins who don't ever go. They'll probably cheer there. But the hardcore people that are Giants fans today will have nothing more than a 45-0 butt kicking by the Colts to fire the general manager, embarrass the owner, which they don't like, fire the head coach, and get the number one overall pick. That's a happy Christmas and a happy holiday for them.
All right, talk to me, Lisi. Saints-Raiders now down to a 1.5-point spread here, still favoring Vegas. Total's 37.5.
Yeah, this is actually obviously one of my better picks on the total, but it's one of my better side picks. I really like the Saints outright at plus 112. I understand they didn't score a point on the road against Green Bay, but playing at home, Spencer Rattler and that team, I think, have a bounce-back effort. Don't believe in Las Vegas. Big picture, they have no offensive identity outside of Brock Bowers. Their defense can be suspect. I understand they stepped up in terms of that matchup against Jacksonville, had some issues getting into town. I think their defense could get ripped today. All Spencer Rattler in the passing attack. Love the Saints. Love Rizzler. He's not getting the job, but he'll get these kids to play at home. Plus 112 money line. Love the total. 37.5. Give me party over.
Yeah, a lot of people will say that's crazy. Did you see him last week? Well, each game is a separate entity. And also keep in mind going at Green Bay as a dome team out of the playoffs around the holidays and play them in 20-degree temperatures. Yeah, it's not going to look that great without any wide receivers. MVS, Valdez-Scantling will be back today at wide receiver. That's going to help them. And also, I think the running game cranks up today just enough to give Spencer Rattler time in the pocket. And also, other side, I think the Raiders score on the New Orleans team as well. I think 37.5 is a good look. Sidewise, I do think it's a true coin flip, but I do lean towards the team that's favored today in the Raiders, though.
I view it as, again, I know that sometimes people think this might be silly. If it was 1.5 Saints, I probably wouldn't feel strongly about it.
Yeah.
In no world can the Raiders lay at New Orleans. I have refused to think that is in any shape or form acceptable here. Also, I saw a tweet out there from a Saints beat reporter that thinks Clyde Edwards-Helaire could get used today. 4-1 to find the end zone.
Wow.
If you're interested in something, I'm not betting. I backed off any of that Kendre Miller lie.
Kendre hits a 30-plus yard run today.
He was dealing with PTSD. That's why the Chiefs released him, supposedly.
Stop.
It was a big article. In it.
Over what, though?
He had PTSD over something that happened, I believe, in Baton Rouge in LSU situation. And correct.
Now playing at home in New Orleans, 4-1.
That's why they released him, but he's battling it. So.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we get into Josh Allen looking for an MVP performance, the Bucs making sure they can keep pace with the Falcons, the Dolphins trying to keep their postseason hopes alive, and then the two best games on the board, Minnesota and Green Bay, and your Sunday nighter with Michael Penix going head-to-head with Jaden Daniels. We'll break those all down next on SportsGrid.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
But they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today. They cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's get right to it here. Jets-Bills is a spot where I think Josh Allen needs to have a big game. Took him over 212.5 passing yards. Played a FanDuel special for him to have 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns at 15-1. Josh Allen's MVP spot as the favorite is something that is still holding, but it gets drops with every single performance Lamar Jackson has. That's just the reality of it here. Josh can respond today and continue to push that distance a little further apart. I think he will, Joe.
Yeah, I think so, too. 7-0 at home. They've been a dominant home team, won those games by an average margin of victory of 12.5 plus per game. I think he continues against the New York Jets. They got beat up by L.A. in terms of the second half of that matchup. Rushing attack took over with Kyron Williams. Matt Stafford worked off a play action. I think it's a big day for Dalton Kincaid, the trio of the running backs of Buffalo. I don't have a specific. I like Cook, but don't love him in terms of this matchup. And Josh Allen, I think, will put up numbers. Bad weather, go for Allen over, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. But the only problem I do have, total-wise, I'd love to be in on the over. 44.5, just can't do it. Lean to the under, Donnie.
Yep, absolutely into under 44.5. Bad weather conditions. You look at a team that's dead in the water on the Jets. How much fight did they have? They had so much fight last week. They scored 9 points against the Rams at home. Now you go on the road. I think they're dead to rights. Also, James Cook, anytime touchdown market, minus 125, minus 130 out there. I think he scores today.
How about the game today between Tennessee and Jacksonville? Essentially a pick 'em football game at this point here. Total sitting 37.5 in one spot. I think Tajay Spears can hit the end zone. We're hearing the reports again that Doug Peterson's tenure as Jacksonville coach is likely coming to an end. The last time that happened before a game, they lost, I believe, 52-14, 52-10 to the Detroit Lions. Well, they're not playing the Lions. I still lean towards Jacksonville. They know how to play for Dougie P.
Yeah, you know what? I lean to Jacksonville as well. I still believe in Mac Jones a little bit more than Mason Rudolph and the Brian Thomas Jr. in the passing attack. Again, bad weather in terms of the environment. I'll still take a shot with Jacksonville. Don't love it. Lean to the under 37.5. This game has probably 17-13 written all over it. I can't see it getting through the 37.5.
Yeah, it's a shame because this is one of those games, Brian Thomas Jr., you have good weather out there. He's going to slay that secondary, but we'll see if it's tempered. He's around a 70.5. For me, from a Jacksonville perspective, I do think they're a better team overall than Tennessee is. Tank Bigsby to score a touchdown today, plus 240. If it's a little bit of bad weather, use that little bulldozer on the goal line. Maybe can find some pay dirt. And how about this? If there is bad weather, Travis Etienne, receiving yards, Joe, 13.5. I'll take the over in that one. A couple couple dump downs.
All right. How about today's game between Tampa Bay and Carolina? 9.5-point number in favor of the Bucs. Total in this one, 47.5. I'm on Payne Durham over 23.5 receiving yards. Buy low on the Cade Otton replacement. I do think you're going to get a game where a lot of players step up, whether that be Baker or Bryce, whether that be Mike Evans or Bucky Irving. This is, in the early slate of games, probably your best for prop shots.
Yeah, you're right. You got me in on the tight end in regards to the over 23.5, 24 in terms of the receiving yards. I do lean to Carolina with the points. I just think it's way too many points. Even with Chuba Hubbard out of that lineup, I don't think it really matters in terms of the spread perspective. You're talking about a touchdown over. 8.5 points is a huge number, especially the first time they played was 23-20, and Bryce Young did have success. The only concern, the rain in the forecast, going to watch the first quarter play out. If I get a dip in terms of the total into the mid-30s, that's an area where I want to jump in. I know Tampa needs the game. Carolina is spunky, especially as a dog. I'm going to take Carolina with the points. Right now, no play on the over.
If the weather is average, I do think that 47.5 might come into play, but also that means Baker Mayfield's going to go through his numbers. Mike Evans will go through his numbers on another quest for 1,000 yards. I do think Mike Evans does find pay dirt, and also you're looking at the quarterback throwing multiple touchdowns today. But it's one of those games where, again, we don't need fantasy points out here for the team itself. They want to win. They want to go home and they want to watch that Sunday night football game tonight and root for the Washington Commanders or just see exactly what happens where their path to the playoffs possibly continues into next week and into the future. I think Tampa wins this. I think Evans and I think Baker Mayfield have big days.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving through our slate here. And the Dolphins-Browns game is one that wasn't going to have a lot of excitement, but, man, this has continued to drop here, as has the total. I would look to the 32.5 over. Admittedly, hardly a favorite wager of mine. And I know sometimes people say, oh, total's that low or that low for a reason. But at 32.5, I think there's still enough talent on the field. I would lean over in this game. Again, far from a best bet.
No, you might get me in, and it might be an in-game perspective. Again, if you have a scoreless first quarter, what does this total go to? Does it go to 21.5? I mean, how low does it drop? So bad weather, I do want to see. I'll take the shot. I believe Cleveland, in terms of playing at home with the points, I'll take a shot with Cleveland to potentially win it outright. They moved the football in the second half against Cincinnati. DTR and that offense struggled in red zone opportunities. Cincinnati, again, peaking. Miami, not sure where they're at with Huntley at the helm. I think they run the football. Jerome Ford, 57.5.
Yeah.
Got through this again last week against Cincinnati. Got into the 80s. Potentially an 80-yard performance in DTR. 30.5 rushing yards. They're going to utilize the RPO. Give me him over his total as well. But, again, I'll see if we get a number like 20.5, 21, I'll get in.
Yeah, Jerome Ford, Jonnu Smith, the two guys I would target in this game for a possible prop bet looks here. And this game starts 4:05. 4:25 is the game of the day. This game might be over by the time you get to 4:25. Just run the clock, get him out of here, hand it off, take a couple knees, no commercial breaks, see ya.
It's going to be a great game. Vikings-Packers hopefully will.
Juice.
My best bet is in this game. Jordan Love, 50-plus passing yards. As we get closer, I feel as if I lean Minnesota. But, man, is it a struggle. It's a tight line here. I also lean on the over. Minnesota just likes to play explosive, and I think the Packers are ready to answer the bell.
Yeah, I agree with you. They've won 5 of the last 6. Minnesota's won 8 straight by 8.6 points per game. They've won their home games by an average margin of 13.6 points per game. It's a different atmosphere. Now, Jordan Love is now completely healthy from the first time they played. They lost that game 31-29 in terms of Lambeau. Jordan Love threw for 389. I think he has a huge performance. Give me points.
Tight lines, good for fishing, even better for football games here. Give me the Minnesota Vikings. Cheap price, -1.5. JJ finds the end zone. Gritty all over the place because we're going to have a monster Week 18 out here.
Commanders-Falcons, we will do that at the final segment of our show here, along with your best bets and your anytime touchdown scorers as we get set for another Sunday of NFL.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Like, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today. They cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Football today. Only on SportsGrid. So, Lisi, Donnie Rightside. I'm Kevin Walsh. Let's get to Sunday night football here. Washington hosts Atlanta. The Falcons' urgency will depend a little bit on what Tampa Bay is able to do against Carolina here. And Washington's will depend a little bit on what Philadelphia does against Dallas. But as we sit now, Lisi, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, I like Washington. I think they're the more complete team. I know they stepped up against Philadelphia. I believe in Jaden Daniels. I believe in Dan Quinn. I believe in the defense. They made plays in terms of the second half to at least put their team in a position to pull it out. Going up against a rookie quarterback, I think they stopped the run, put the game on Michael Penix's shoulders. I think they cover the 3.5 fairly easy. Total lean to the under, but I do want to see the weather tonight.
Rainy conditions. I'm going to lean on the running game of the Atlanta Falcons, which I think is better than Washington's running game. I love the hook in this one because if our rainy conditions, you're playing field position, the stakes of this game really lining up. I look for a close game in the end. I'm taking the 3.5, and I think Bijan and Tyler Algier have that running game cranking tonight.
I think it's a big specials game, quite frankly. Fade the weather by going higher.
Wow.
500-plus passing yards is around plus 260, the 1-1. I am not looking for this game to sneak through numbers. I think if this game has it going, it can blast through numbers, quite frankly. If this game was played in Atlanta, I think the total might be 52.5. I'm not sure that I'm not sure whether 6 points worse is kind of how I'm feeling right now. Let's get to the best bets here. A lot of excitement. I can just feel it.
Yeah.
It's palpable
It is.
right now. Lisi, talk to me. What's the best bet?
Well, I was working on the algo last night, late at night, and I was trying to see what total was speaking to me at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went completely contrarian with a 1 o'clock kick, and everybody said, there's no way the Raiders in New Orleans could get through this 37.5. Forget 37.5. How about 44.5? We're going to alt it up. Come on, Rat. Rat going to be playing like he's back in South Carolina and Norman, Oklahoma, 225, 250. Come on, Rat. Over the 37.5.
He's going to save his career on this game tonight and maybe the Rizzler next year as the head coach in New Orleans. I like that bet because I do think it has some juice. Two bad defenses in a dome, the weather conditions, and away we go. I'm going to tell you where you have weather conditions. Not going to matter. It's Baker Mayfield. It's Tampa Bay. Points aplenty. And even if we get a lightning strike, which means we delay it, Joe, for a half hour, let's clear out all the clouds and get back onto a pristine football field. It is a little juicy at minus 150. Don't be surprised if this hits in the first half and you cruise on your way home if you're driving, like I will be myself.
Some respect I see there. Is that the engagement gift you've been waiting on?
Wow.
For me, the best bet's Jordan Love, 250-plus passing yards here. 5 of the last 6 quarterbacks against Minnesota threw this number. On average, those 6 quarterbacks, 291 yards per game, and also quarterbacks having to throw consistently against Minnesota. Stout run defense, again, vulnerable on the back end there. We could see Jordan Love throw this ball 35-plus times, which that's happened 10 times last 2 years. 8 out of the 10. He's thrown for 250-plus on the season. When he's thrown for at least 30 pass attempts, 4 of 5, he's given us at least 250 passing yards, and he's in a bounce-back spot because he didn't have to do anything last week
Home sweet
against New Orleans. Touchdown scorer, Lisi?
Yeah, big games, I'll keep it to the Green Bay game. And big games, you have to break tendency, right? So, you talk about Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison potentially could get him paid dirt. T.J. Hawkinson, 2-1. Why? Because he doesn't have a touchdown on the year. I think he does today. 2-1, he breaks paid dirt.
Love it. Joe said he already loved the Vikings today, so doubling down there on T.J. Hawkinson at tight end makes perfect sense. For me, Mike Evans down there. If we're throwing multiple touchdowns in Tampa and Mike Evans doesn't get one today, color me shocked. He's scoring today, minus 115.
Tajay Spears.
Ooh.
I know that is not a great game.
Oh, he's upset about
but
this
at
one.
plus 115, this is an absolute delight. He scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. No Tony Pollard, who's obviously a nightmare for me. Donnie's favorite player in the league. The Jaguars' run defense has been poor, giving up a lot of rushing touchdowns. Now, why does he not like Tajay Spears?
It's too, once he's like Tajay Spears, once he became the starter and people talk about his emails, blew up this week on Tajay Spears.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even think who he play for.
Yeah.
Tulane.
High school.
Everybody's still in college. Where'd Hawkinson go?
Iowa.
Okay, and then Mike Evans?
Texas A&M.
Yep.
A clean sweep on touchdowns this week. Texas A&M USC Gutty game.
He had Johnny Manziel.
By the way, where's Tulane at?
He's crazy.
Would love to see that campus.
Maybe we'll get
Would love
He's
to see
crazy.
that campus.
Campus tour.
Pivotal. It's pivotal.
Green
information on the grid.
A pivotal slate of football, undoubtedly here. Can you believe we'll get to do it again tomorrow for Lions, Niners, and it may not even matter. Can't wait. See you then.
Flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today. They cover.
So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
You don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.